Hey everyone, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Got a product review for you today. You might have guessed this one was coming. This is the Slate Digital Virtual Buss Compressor review. I think I have every one of his plugins and I use them every single day. So when Steven said he's coming out with a virtual bus compressor, I saw him at NAMM back in January and he's like, yeah, we're working on a bus compressor. I was frustrated because I knew if I heard it, I'd probably want it. And I was also confused too because this was kind of the first time he was doing like a specific gear emulation outside of tape and console. There's already plenty of bus compressor plugins. There are more of those than there are console emulation plugins. And so I'm already using an SSL emulation plugin and I love it. And so I was really curious to see if I demoed this, if it would do anything my current bus compressor can't do. So what I want to do today really quickly, I'm just going to show you what these three plugins are within the VBC. And then I want you to hear it for yourself. I'm just going to engage this thing. I want you to hear what it does. What Slate's done is emulated three really popular bus compressors. At the very top here, we've got the FG Gray, which is going to be your SSL 4000. So this is very punchy, very classic bus compression. You've heard this on a lot of records, whether you know it or not. And so that's his SSL emulation. Below that is the FG Red, which is the Focusrite. Their classic red compressor. And specifically, I think he was working with or sort of looking at Chris Lord-Alge's settings and his model that he uses on his mix bus. He really liked the sound of, obviously, Chris's mixes, so the FG Red is there for you to try out as well. And then the FG Mu is kind of, from what I gather, a hybrid of maybe like a Fairchild and a Manley, like a Very Mu. So very warm, analog-y, old school compression. So you kind of have three compressors within one plugin, which is great. Whereas if you buy one nice bus compressor, that's the sound you have. So already it's a nice tool for the home studio because you get three different compressors to choose from, and you're probably going to want to choose different compressors on different mixes. And what I like is that you can engage these individually. You don't have to pull this whole thing up here. You can just use one or the other. But they put together a version you also get called the VBC Rack, which we're looking at right now. You can see all three. You can change the order of these plugins. They're right there for you to audition quickly and hear the difference on your mix, which is great. You can throw it on, listen to each one, A-B them, and then go, oh, the FG Red sounds better on my mix than the Gray. I mean, that's all you need to do. You don't need to spend forever debating which one's the best. You've got three, pick one that sounds the best that day. But also, you can run them in series. So you could actually use all three at the same time and garner the benefits from each unit into your mix. Super, super cool. And another feature, other than all the typical knobs that you're going to see on these compressors just to dial in the settings you want, is each one has a mix knob for somewhat of a parallel compression in the box feature. So you can dial in the compression and then dial this mix knob back to 50% if you wanted, and then you've got what you're hearing is 50% of the compressed signal and 50% of the uncompressed signal. So it'll be a more natural compression. And it's very easy, very fast. And I know a lot of DAWs are starting to do this. A lot of plugin manufacturers are starting to add a mix knob. I thought that was a very smart move of them. Okay, so why a bus compressor from Slate Digital? What's this going to do differently? Well, the guys are trying to emulate not just the features and not just the settings and the way it controls the audio and the way it responds to audio. They've really tried to emulate that well, as have other plugin manufacturers before them. But with Steven and Fabrice, they're going to try to recreate and model the non-linearities of analog gear. Just the point that analog gear isn't a perfect computer algorithm all the time. It's unpredictable. It has these variances and these distortions and these things that are slightly wrong and slightly imperfect that create sonic character and tone. And so that's modeled in these plugins, and you can hear that, and it's going to translate into punch and warmth on top of what the compressor is doing. So what I want to do for you here is I've got this plugin set up. This is just default. I haven't done any settings yet, and it's all bypassed. I want to play this on the mix bus, on a mix that I'm working on, and I want to just simply engage, literally turn on couple of these compressors. The settings are not even set, so the thresholds are at 0. They're not doing any compression. I want that to be clear. They aren't doing any compression in this demo. They're just passing audio through them. So take a listen. All right, I'm going to engage the FG Gray first. Crazy, right? I mean, it brought in punch and fatness in the snare drum and tone and vibe just from turning on the compressor, just from passing audio through the FG Gray. Hear it again. I'm going to turn it off. Hear it again. Awesome stuff it does on the drums, kick, snare, all that stuff that you'd expect passing audio through an SSL 4000, the master bus compressor. It does that. It brings in the punch, but I haven't even engaged anything. There's no gain reduction happening on the meter. And so when you dial down the threshold a bit, a little bit of a ratio, and really rein in some of those peaks, you can bring up the makeup gain a smidge so you can have even more punch. But just passing audio through the FG Gray makes the mix better. Okay, let's try the Very Mu down here, the FG Mu, excuse me, and see, because this does something very different that's very sweet. I'm going to flip this on also. Totally different sound. The FG Mu brings out some of that upper mids, some richness and harmonics there, just passing audio through that. And that's very helpful to know that if you have a somewhat muddy mix or a little boxed in, or you tend to grab an EQ and bring out some of the upper mids to let the mix cut through a bit, gosh, just passing it through this guy, it adds that character, that richness up top there. The crack on the snare, the cymbals open up a bit, literally just by putting it through this compressor. And then in tandem, you could put these two together. You could put the FG Gray and the FG Mu together, and what we can do is turn this off now and bring in both at the same time and see what that does. I'm going to unbypass it, and it's going to turn on the FG Gray and the FG Mu at the same time. You get the idea. You're getting sonic changes from passing audio through this without even the benefit of mixed bus compression, which I would argue and have argued in previous tutorials that is very helpful to gluing a mix together. So just starting from this point of putting audio through it, when I demoed this, I was doing this mix and I just throw it on there and I turn on the FG Gray because I'm used to my SSL bus compressor. And I said, man, I haven't even tweaked the settings. There's no compression even happening yet, and it's already better. And you have to just say there's something magical happening when they can create a piece of gear digitally that you run audio through and it just sounds better, which is usually the argument for certain pieces of analog hardware, legacy pieces that even very digitally oriented mixers continue to pass their mixes through to get that final little benefit of They're saying something when the guys at Slate Digital can do that in a plugin. Do you need this plugin? If you already have a Mixbus plugin, you owe it to yourself to demo this. It'd be unfair of me to not share this with you because it does something that I think just automatically makes your mix better. So demo it and then A/B it with your favorite Mixbus compressor, because if you end up liking it more, it's worth selling something in your studio to pay for this thing. The price, I got it at $199, and that might have been an intro rate. I'm not sure. Steven's pretty good about doing specials here and there. But at that price, even if it's $250, even if it's $300, I'm not really sure what he's selling it for right now, you're getting 3 Mixbus compressors. So keep that in mind. The price is pretty amazing for what you're getting, and you have a sonic palette to choose from. That again, each mix might need something else. You might have a very bright mix that you wouldn't want to put the FG Mu on because it's gonna enrich too much of the upper mids and it's gonna make it harsh. It's not a magic bullet that you put everything through and it's the same every time. But you've got these characters there for you to play with, and then it's just handles audio really well. The compression works really well, and then you have the mix knob. And again, you can have a lot of variety in your sound just by putting this on your Mixbus One plugin. You're not going to have to put it all over your mix. Run your audio through this thing. It already brings up that punch and that life that can honestly make mixing easier. So put this on at the beginning, mix through it, then start going to your individual tracks. You might find you need less compression and less EQing to get your mix to pop. And that is a glorious thing because that'll save you CPU power, that'll save you time, and that'll keep your mix as natural as possible because you got more bang for your buck out of one plugin on your mix bus than 20 plugins across your tracks. There you go, the VBC Virtual Bus Compressors from Slate Digital. Go demo it. Don't take my word for it. Go demo it. See if it does something for you that you like. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your feedback on these videos. Hope you're having a great week. Go make some music this week, please, and we'll see you soon.